Okay, so last time, after finding beds at the Thirsty Oak Tavern, you decided to hunker down for the night, finding yourself somewhere to sleep in the strange cupboard beds that were afforded to you. That is apart from Galatea, who went back down into the bar to have another conversation with the bartender and offer a drink and maybe an ear to the drunk fawn at the bar. You got a little bit of sort of information, a little bit of acknowledgement from them, but they did appear to be quite deep in their cups at the time. And towards the end of the conversation, they stood up and fell over, pretty much knocking themselves out and collapsing in a heap. In the morning, after Galatea and Moira had found their beds, you got up and coming down into the bar again. The day very much similar to how it had been the previous day. The light, the time of day, very, very difficult or almost impossible to tell exactly what time of day is, how long you've been sleeping at all. But when you did return to the bar, you found bartender in his similar place, a few people still in the bar, and the chap, the fawn who you had a conversation with the night before, still asleep, snoring on top of a table where the bartender appeared to have placed him for safety out of the way. Not wanting to get into any particular arguments with this character again, I can't remember what class you are now. You're not a paladin. I don't remember now off the top of my head. But Kane, you didn't want to cause any conflicts or anything. Wanted having a chat in the morning with this character, and so you decided to just go off for a morning, like a brisk morning walk around the village, just to sort of clear the air and let the others sort of wake up and have a little scout about, see what the area was like, because you didn't actually get a lot of a view of the town the night before anyway. And of course, Bula decided that they wanted to go with you, keep you company. Though the party split at that point, you two went going off for a little jaunt around the town, and the rest of the party seeing to have a conversation with the fawn. The fawn did eventually wake up with some prodding and poking from the party, and was very much hungover with a severe headache in the morning, and didn't seem to remember kind of conversations or discussions that may have been had the previous night. However, they did confirm their name, and which is Johann Iristi, and from a letter that was found when you entered this area, you know that this is or you are assuming that this is the son of the Burgermeister, the mayor of this town, who had left a note that you'd found that was obviously never delivered, but it was actually saying that they wanted the rest of the world to basically leave them to it, that the land was cursed, that there was evil here, and that there were many riches in this land, but it was probably best to wait until everyone was dead and come back and gather those things later. But to basically shut off this world away, and they talked about something called the Chernobog that had attacked, and that their daughter Sahana was languishing and was potentially dying from a severe wound. These things were confirmed to you by Johann. He did confirm that his sister was ill, that and he is of a mind that he blames himself. You also found out that his father, the Burgermeister who had written the letter, is dead. Had died several days ago, and for whatever reason he was blaming himself. But he did confirm that his sister was injured, and several members of the party suggested that they may be able to help, and so he having no other better options for day and having just woken up with a massive hangover, decided to take you back to see if there's something that you could do. In the meantime, two of the party members, Kane and Bula, decided to, on their walk, have a little look as they were going around at this very large tree that was in the centre of town that had this large sort of violet-purple flame above it. As you approach, there was an Owlin guard who seemed to be standing in front of a door, and I can't remember if anyone struck up a conversation or whether you just got a bit too close, but it made it clear that you weren't welcome. Was rather insulting, calling you yokels and common folk, and basically told you to get lost, don't come near. You began to walk away, but Bula decided that she didn't like the cut of this guy's jib. She didn't like his attitude, and so decided that she was going to touch his tree, precious tree. He didn't want anyone to look at or touch. Unfortunately, by doing this, he took that as an act of aggression, and he was forced to defend himself and the tree, which started off I was going to say fight, but the thing was that Kane and Bula together immediately managed to disarm him with a command and grapple him in a bear hug, and so it was more of a war of words on the Owlin's part, as Bula repeatedly headbutt him in the head, and Kane, I think, I don't think you attacked him until he eventually got free, but you did definitely try to sort of persuade him to, to apologize and to sort of stop this silliness. However, he didn't seem to be interested in that. He told you that you were, by attacking a guard, that he would bring the full force against you of the Scarwood Guard, and that he was doing the work of the princess. And after he refused to apologize, and you refused to apologize to him, and with repeating headbutts, a strange feeling came over Bula initially, and the figure that she had walked off with around the town became unfamiliar to her. She does not recognize Kane now, doesn't have any memory of ever meeting them. They just seem to be someone there. They have to remember that they traveled with you, but that bond, that closeness, that knowledge that only comes from being close friends and getting to know someone over time is currently gone. And sadly, while Kane was trying to separate, trying to find out what was going on, they too had this strange feeling wash over them. And they also now do not recognize the half-orc that they are with. That bond is gone. They know that this Owlin is a bit of a dick and been rude, but not sure who the other person is. Kane essentially just wanted to sort of break this fight up at this point. But unable to push or try and separate the two, Kane began to wander off, not wanting to sort of get involved or sway the balance in some way. But eventually, after a failed headbutt, the Owlin managed to wiggle free, drawing short swords to apparently to attack Bula. However, was immediately slashed by Bula with their glaive. This Owlin not being able to really attack at all. And with Kane returning, decided to call in reinforcements, sounding a horn. And towards the end of the session, two more Owlin guards appeared. One coming up to the initial Owlin and taking or beginning to take Kane into custody. The other one meeting up with the retreating Bula. And that is where we find ourselves at the moment. Now, I will give you a quick description of the Owlin because I had forgotten to because of things starting quicker than I assumed. So the Owlin that you met outside the front door, they are about 6 feet tall, so quite tall for an Owlin. They have a sort of a heart-shaped face with ear-like tufts protruding from the top of their head, either side. They've got light tan and white feathers covering their face, with dark brown markings running across their sort of eyebrows where they would be, and then down to their pure white beak. The rest of the body is covered in a sort of a long, heavy turquoise poncho kind of thing with a hood, which is currently pulled up sort of around the back of the head. And the poncho has sort of like silver tassels running around it. So it's very well made. These obviously, being royal guards, are well clothed. But if they've got any additional armor, you can't really see it. It's been covered by this poncho. They wear tan-coloured robes underneath, with like sort of long sleeves going down to their hands, and they do have sort of thigh boots. And this particular one is carrying a very long silver spear and a large round shield. Or they were, until they were told them to drop them, and then Cain kicked the spear down the path a little way. So, before we continue to see what happens with Cain and Bula, let us go back to the party outside the Thirsty Oak. You've just stepped outside the Thirsty Oak. Johan is with you, and you are beginning to walk up the path. The day is a little drizzly, like it was the day previously. And again, the light of the day, the sky itself, gives no indication of what time it is to you. You feel like refreshed after your long time asleep, but you don't exactly know what time of day it is. But yeah, it just feels like you're in the same sort of period of time as you were as when you entered this area. So as you come out into the pathway, your hand staggers out, covering his eyes. Even though it's not particularly bright, the very large migraine that he's starting to get now after all the drinking from the previous night, he staggers out into the pathway and tells you to follow him as they walk along the path.
Okay.
Sorry?
I think you glossed over the Owlin was totally an Owlin, and there wasn't anything suspicious there.
Oh, yes. Well, of course, nobody else knows that apart from the two that were involved with it. But yes, you're right. When Bula did headbutt the Owlin, there was a strange kind of connection that they had. When you headbutt them, instead of feeling that their feathery face or their beak would break under your attack, you slamming your forehead into them, it felt differently. It felt like you were hitting something much harder than what was visible, and almost that you were sort of as if where you were trying to hit there was something further within, like it was so it didn't make sense to you. And one clue of this was the fact that when you smashed your head forward, you felt something on your forehead, like dripping, like you assume it might be blood. You can't obviously see your own forehead, but there was no visible damage on the Owlin. You didn't see anything there. But the rest of you, yes, leave the Thirsty Oak, and Johan turns to you and says, "Follow me, and I will take my sister. He's not far."
Okay.
And he'll start walking up the path. Sorry, I'll take the pause off for you. You can move your characters then.
Can we hear anything yet?
You can give me a perception check if you like. Anyone who's listening out can do that.
I think I might hear something.
Yeah, that's it. 23. That's pretty good. Yeah. So yeah, as you start walking up the pathway, probably you get to about here, where your hand is at the moment, and I'll say morning, just because we'll give you a time reference. It might not be morning, but it's just morning to you. As you come outside, you notice that there are a few people around their houses, but people seem to be at the moment quite sort of on edge. There are people going into their houses. No one's sort of giving you a sort of direct eye contact. And as you get a couple of 100 feet down or 30 or 40 feet down the pathway, looking through between the houses, you do notice at the distance where the tower was, you see Kane being apprehended or being surrounded on both sides by two Owlin guard, which seem to be armed and don't know if you can see from this distance, but they seem to be at least having a conversation with him. It might be one of them that is like sort of grabbing a hold of him currently as well. So obviously not in a friendly way.
Oh, looks like Luna can't make it work after all.
Oh no. And Foundry isn't working either. Oh dear. Internet issues. Yeah, it sounds like it must be the internet then if she can't connect to Foundry or Discord as well.
Yeah, or the laptop maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway.
if she can try and use another device instead of the laptop, at least if she can listen in and talk, even if she can't see, because I can still like explain what's going on if she can't see what's going on. But if there's an issue with the internet, probably nothing you can do about it. But if it's just the laptop, then surely another device would be able to connect.
Yeah. The joys of playing long distance.
But yes, so yeah, you see through here, you can see this in the distance. And Kane, you currently have this Owlin who you were talking to initially, it's just put down this, or put away the horn, and is standing there. They're currently holding one short sword in their hand, having dropped the other one. They're not holding at you or threatening you in any way. And this other Owlin has come up to you with they don't have any manacles in their hand, but it was suggested at the end, I think, of the last one that the guard had to take you into custody.
I suppose Kane, seeing the situation at hand, not wanting to cause more trouble than has already occurred with all these strangers around him, is complying with a real look of annoyance on his face. He's really not happy about this situation, but he realizes that going along with it might be best for now.
Okay, so if you're going along with it, then you did apologize to him directly, and I think he did accept that. But he wanted an apology from Bula specifically, I think he mentioned. But for all intents and purposes at the moment, they're not being aggressive to you. The other Owlin comes in and maybe just puts their hand on your shoulder, and they are probably looking down the pathway, waiting for the other guards to apprehend Bula, and then they can sort things out. Valadomi, you see this exchange in between the buildings. You don't see Bula currently, and as you're walking down there, yeah, that's what you sort of see. The rest of the party, what are you up to?
If it's okay, I'm gonna just start moving towards them. Yeah. Johan, sorry, I just, we've got another couple of members to help you out. They're just over here. Not sure what's going on. Hold on.
Okay, so if you point them out and start heading that way, he'll look between the houses in that direction, and he'll say, "With God, What are they up to now? Come on, we'll sort this out on the way. And he will follow you over into that direction.
The what guard?
Garwood Guard.
Just gonna give the others a bit of a look. Wondering if they could tell what's going on.
The rest of you following along?
Yep. When Galatea gives Tisven a look, he'll just shrug his shoulder and follow after Johan.
Okay. All right. So the rest of you will come up through the housing. As soon as you get to the end, where in between the houses, you can see down the road that Bula is currently has another guard, sort of blocking her way at the moment. Fortunately, I can't ask Luna what she would do in this circumstance, but I'm gonna continue with from Kane's point of view at the moment. So we'll just carry on with that. So as you reach the houses there, you see that Kane is basically had his hands behind his back, and the Owlin is but to his side is basically sort of about to get some manacles out and to looks like he's like under arrest for some reason.
If I may, Kane would address them as he saw them
Yeah.
coming up. It's good to see you all again. I'm afraid I've got myself into a spot of bother here. This rambunctious half-orc has started some kind of fight and I was trying to finish it.
Rambunctious half-orc. Are you talking about Bula?
Just gonna stare.
Is that her name?
What?
I mean, you should know. You're the one that has been friends with her for quite some time, according to what you've told us.
This isn't really a time for you to be speaking nonsense.
You're the one speaking nonsense. Everything okay, mate?
Well, as you can see by the fact that I'm being accosted by these guards, not particularly.
Johan will sort of look between you all and sort of whisper to whoever's closest, possibly Galatea, seeing as he was following her. Is this one of your party? Who are these people? Do you know them?
Yeah, they came with us. What's happening? I'm gonna look to the Owlin.
The one with the ear tufts.
The closest one.
The closest one. So he sort of defers. He looks across at the other one who's this Owlin is slightly different. The one that was standing in front of the tower. He's got these little ear tufts and things. The other owls have got sort of rounded, sort of face like barn owls type thing. This he's the one who sort of stands out. He's definitely sort of in charge, or the higher up sort of rank than these ones. They're sort of subservient to him. But the owl, as he sees you all, he sort of steps forward a little bit, puts his short sword away, and he doesn't address any of you. He looks through you and at Johan, and he says, Johan, are these miscreants with you? And Johan just lets out a slightly frustrated and just a tired sigh, and he says, what is the charge this time? Did they step on your toe? And the Owlin scowls at him and says, these reprobates thought it would be funny to touch the royal tree, even after I was so gracious enough to warn them several times. Filth of this kind should know better. and he looks down his beak at Kane.
Would Moira be able to sort of ascertain the age range-ish of these Owlins? As
Sure.
in younger or older?
Yeah, give me a perception check.
I like that dice noise.
Hold
Can
on.
you make all the dice make that sound?
Haha. Yeah, 15.
15. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So they, I'll give the sort of approximate age, in like human years rather than actually Owlin years, because it's a bit difficult if I say they're 3 or 4 years old. It's a bit difficult to kind of explain that. But so they're about in their 30s. So they're
I'm like,
Sorry?
I'm trying to like think, are they younger or older than myself, like Moira, a mouse?
remind me of how old you are again.
Uh,
Let me have a look at your
Old?
sheet.
Hold on. I think I'm 20. In like mouseling years.
Okay, so yeah, so they're a bit older than you then.
God damn it.
Do you say anything to them, or are you're just looking to?
I was going to if I thought they were younger than me.
No, this one who's talking is definitely older than you.
Pardon me, but we've just found ourselves here. We don't know the customs. If this tree is somehow sacred, I'm sure my friends are very sorry, and we won't do it again.
He turns to look at you and he says, "Yes, this is a sacred tree, and your friends were warned several times not to touch it or come too near. I warned them that what would happen if they did so, and they continued to do so. So,
And Kane very rudely interjects this Owlin very quickly. Before he's finished talking, Kane kind of looks at him with annoyance on his face and says, "I didn't touch it."
he looks at you, raising an eyebrow because of you interrupting, but he says, "True enough." And then Johan looks at you, Kane, and says, "Is this true? Did you or her touch the tree?"
I'm
Kane,
sure.
hmm?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just about to say, I'm sure at this point, Bula will be outraged and just ranting about how he was just being rude and it's just a tree, and why is he so bothered about that? And he shouldn't be so rude then.
Yeah, I'm going to say while you had this little bit of conversation, I'm going to assume that Bula probably didn't want to get caught by this guy, but maybe in noticing that the rest of the party have turned up as now, is probably just walking back, and this guard is maybe not like putting hands on her because he's probably a bit smarter than that, but at least sort of looks like he's walking her back. In fact, he's just walking in the same direction that she's going back to this point. So that she can be in earshot and being part of the conversation at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, but Johan asks you, and if he sees Bula coming up, he'll sort of look towards her as well and just ask, "Is it true? Did you touch the tree?"
I reckon she would probably say that he touched the tree. She seemed pretty incredulous about it.
Yeah.
But Kane just kind of lets her do the talking.
Okay, so once you've confirmed that you did in fact touch the tree, Johan, you can see he grinds his teeth and he scowls, and he looks over at the Owlin. And through gritted teeth, he says, "Very well, Eldram. On behalf of the Eristri family, I apologize on their behalf. These outsiders have not yet been made aware of the princess's laws. Turn them over to me and I shall instruct." And the Owlin just looks between you, Kane, and Bula, and smiles smugly, looking back at Johan. "Well, I suppose I could be persuaded to give them another chance, but the green one was rather rude. Look, she's stretched the neck of my robes. They will never go back into shape again. Perhaps a night in the cells would put her in her place."
Moira, under her breath, is going to be like, as if anybody cares about that.
If the Owlin hears you, he doesn't react.
Cool.
But Johan eyes dart up to meet Eldram. Oh, sorry, you gather that Eldram is the name of this Owlin after Johan said it. So his eyes dart up to meet the Owlins, and his hand just rests on the hilt of one of his swords. And he says, "This town is still under the protection of my not the Scarwood Guard." And the Owlin looks back at towards Eldram, towards Johan, and nods. "Of course, I did not mean to overstep our agreement. I shall, of course, turn them over to you as you request." And he waves to the other guards to set you free, and both the other guards let go of you and step back. "We are only here to protect the village from the Chernobog, as your father requested. Such a shame we were too late to save him. I'm sure you did your best, though." If anyone is looking at your hand, you see a drip of blood drip from the corner of his lip as your hand bites down so hard. His hand's gripping tightly to the hilt of his sword that it begins to rattle. And the Owlin continues, "Well, isn't this cordial? All settled and tied up in a nice little bow. Now I suggest you novices to the realm try not to break any more of the princess's rules. Otherwise, next time I'm afraid I will have to insist there be a punishment." And he wags his finger mockingly between you all. "And please, stay away from the tree, by order of the princess."
Of course. Sorry.
And he just looks to Johan and you all. "Well, off you go." And Johan just, with still gripping furiously the blade hilt in his hand, he turns, snorts, and shooting daggers with his eyes at the Owlin, starts heading along the path. And turns to you all and says, "Follow me if you still intend to help my sister."
As we walk past the Owlin, do I see any emblems or similar so that we might be able to spot them on sight in the future?
Yeah, they seem to have a... well, in fact, yeah, you recognize it instantly. On the Owlin who was speaking, they have a on part of their robe. They have a like a pin or a brooch that has the face of an owl on it. Very similar to one you've seen before.
Tisvan will be furiously gripping his glaive, but not feeling like this is the moment to do anything. Keeps walking.
Okay. And the other two guard just stand either side, basically, of the Owlin in the middle, as he sort of waves at you as you all head off down the road. And he, one of the guards picks up his spear, and the other guard picks up his shield, and they hand back to him and sort of salute him. And Johan continues to walk up the path in silence.
As we're walking past, Moira says, "Nature respects nature. Nature disrespects nature. As creatures of nature, you should know better. And learn some manners." And walks away like a grumpy old grandma.
Give me a perception check, Moira, as you walk away.
I'm scared.
Well, that's good.
Oh, 23.
Yeah, as you're walking away, you definitely hear the one of the owls. You're not sure exactly which owl, but one of the owls turns to the others and said, "It's been a long time since I've had mouse. Roast mouse, boiled mouse." as you just go out of earshot.
Galatea is just gonna sort of look directly at Bula and shake their head and try and get them to come along.
So Bula recognizes all of you, apart from Kate. So she knows that she's come here with you and that you've been to the fair and all the rest of it. She just doesn't recognize Kate.
I know, but they're extra rude right now, so I'm just.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like, don't just like mouth that. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, I would imagine Bula is furious, but possibly seeing the fury that is also on Johan's face and how much he was going to the point of not doing anything, like holding himself back. She probably recognizes warrior to warrior that there must be a reason for that. But we'll say in this instance that in this time, because everybody else is now leaving this point and it seems to have been diffused, that at least she's not going to spend a night in the cells. But the Owlin, return to guarding this tree, and the other two stay with them. And Johan continues to walk along the road. Before he was quite casual, walking down the path with you following. Now he seems to be walking with speed, with purpose, but in silence.
As we're walking,
why did I
would
do
like to ask Kane, "Are you feeling all right, mate?" And
help?
eh?
I was trying to move the map, but then I got kicked out of Foundry.
Oh, wow! We'll wait for you to come back in again.
Yay, technology!
Yeah, technology's not having a win today.
Right, you'll have to move Bula,
Oh yeah, I'll move Bula because no one else will be able to at the moment. So you continue on up the path, and as you continue following Johan. Actually, let me just stop the fighting music because we're not in that situation anymore.
Sadly, because I would like to Eldritch Blast that cupboard.
Yeah. Where is my audio? I've forgotten where it is now.
Moira, now that they are a bit away from the guards, is a little shaky now. Sorry.
Don't
Sorry.
sorry. What an
Sorry.
asshole.
Oh God. I figured it out. I'm gonna be eaten. I'm gonna be eaten out alive. Oh God.
No, you're not. Not if I have anything to do about it.
They try to eat you, and I'm blasting their head open.
I think we've got you covered.
As you continue to follow Johan along, you follow down the path, and you come into the middle of the village, and you notice that all the paths all seem to converge in this central point, which is a large cobbled area, and at its center there is a quite big wooden well. All the cobbles here are a mix of a sort of a greenish brown color that has this intricate sort of pattern of like a purple moss that seems to be growing between in sort of interesting patterns. It doesn't seem to have any sort of starting point. It is just sort of like clumps of it growing at different random points, but it sort of intersects the different sort of green and brown stones. It's quite pretty. Around the edge of this area, you see forming a sort of a ring of sorts are several barrows and small empty wooden tables that suggest that there may be a regular market that is held here in the centre of town, but currently today there is no market. There are several people sort of milling about in their houses. There are a few children running and laughing in the streets, but it is still fairly quiet, whatever time of day it is currently. Again, most of the people that you see here, there are goat folk, there are fawns, there are the odd furbolg that you see going into these houses. And all the houses are very similar looking, as we sort of discussed before. There are various sizes, but most of them have these sort of pitched roofs covered in sort of grass and flowers and that. There are a couple towards the edge of town that do have other flowers growing on them, some sort of bright blues and pinks and things. And it appears to be that there are a few that might be possibly stores or convenience places as well that are around. There is a notice board in town that you notice as you're going through, and what looks like some sort of general stores. But Johan seems determined in the direction he's going, and he continues moving north. Through the town.
While we're walking,
Yes.
sorry, I've been can Galatea sort of walk up near Kane and sort of quietly asked him what happened.
It's weird because it's like you and Amaros at the same time, like pincer technique Kane. As you're like, is everything okay? So maybe Kane is like, the balance of a person on each side asking me if I've gone crazy. He kind of looks at the two of you and says, when did we pick up this stranger? You know, the half-orc that caused all the trouble.
I can't. You don't remember her?
Why would I remember her?
You've been traveling together. Something has happened to you. Why do you not remember each other?
I think something has happened to you. I've never seen that woman in my life.
No, we're all fine. Did you touch the tree? Did the tree do this?
I told you I didn't touch the tree.
Are you sure? Not even for a minute? A second?
No. I made sure to stay away from it. Well, frankly, it looked like something you wouldn't want to touch.
Did the owl use any magic or anything?
DM, do I know if there was some kind of spell or ability used on me?
You didn't see anything magical happen. You didn't see anything. No words were spoken. No thematic. No movements of hands or anything like that. You didn't see anything being cast.
Um, well, if they did, I certainly didn't see anything, but I feel fine. I just don't understand why we have a stranger among us.
Are we near? Did you say who had pincered you? Where are you?
Amoros had come up while the discussion was being had with Moira and asked Kane if he was feeling okay, and then I just kind of imagined that sort of at the same time Galatea had also come up beside, because I didn't have a chance to answer Amoros yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was literally gonna ask if I could do an insight on if he actually was honest about not knowing anything, but we kind of moved on before I got to ask that.
Yeah, I'll leave it to Amros then.
I think
Just
we
look
both
at
can do
him.
it.
Sorry?
I think we both could do it. DM, your opinion?
Oh yeah, I'll help. Try and roll
Yeah, I mean
that.
you can roll with advantage if Galatea is like helping you, like you're both questioning Kane. So if you wanna do an insight, Ross.
I can say we can do one each. That works out.
If you both want to
Okay.
do an insight, yeah.
Hey, dirty 20.
Nice. I got 13.
So you can roll your sorry, I lost my train of thought. You can either roll your deception or your persuasion, I guess. Kane, but you don't have to tell us which one it is. You just need to tell us if you roll higher.
Oh, okay. So it can be a secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll only know
would you like
what
me-
you're telling them.
Can I roll a real life dice for that then?
Sure, you can. Yeah.
Secret.
Yeah, you can
Secret
just
dice.
tell us if you.
Come on.
Yeah, just tell us if you get higher. Then was it 19 the highest?
Okay. I think it was a dirty 20 someone had.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, was it 20? Was it? Okay.
Kane did not beat the roll.
Okay. So you can give us an answer, but you don't need to tell us whether or not it was deception or persuasion.
Okay. So you guys probably notice on Kane's face as you're talking to him, he seems really on edge, more on edge than he's been. Maybe the last time was when you guys first met him at the carnival. You would have noticed that he was very observant, very keeping his eye on things, in his sort of vigilant mode that he seems to have. That seems to have flared back up again here. He is maybe very observant of his surroundings. He has sweat beading from his forehead, not just from the exertion of the fight, but also seemingly he is nervous about something.
seems
you
a
okay?
little on edge, I would say. Sure, what you just experienced with the guards, I wouldn't say is something to easily brush off, but it seems something more, I would say.
I think maybe with your further questioning, Kane he flits you a look, maybe slows down a bit so as to separate himself away from the rest of the group, and he talks to you and he talks to Galatea, and he says, I know we haven't known each other for long, but something strange is happening to my magic here, and I don't know if it's connected or not, but I have no memory of that woman. If what you say is true, and I should know her well, I'm afraid it's gone from my brain. And with this strange realm we find ourselves in, I find myself wondering if I'm going to start forgetting who you are as well.
Hey, to fill in the gap a little bit, when we all met up, she arrived with you, and you two seemed very close. Like, if you've known each other for years, I would say. That's not something you normally just forget. Hold on, give me a moment. And Amos is gonna run over to Bula. And he's gonna ask her if she's alright trying to do an insight on her too, trying to ask if she knows Kane. I know she's not really here to react to that at the moment, but
That's
that
fine.
is what he would do.
That's fine. I can do a roll here because I've got access to her character sheet anyway.
Should I roll a new insight?
Yes, a new
I'm
one.
guessing
Yeah.
that I should.
Yeah.
You 10.
10. Okay. Gonna find a dice in my deck. Now. Am I done with my dice? So she stops and turns to you and says, "Oh, he's I don't know, someone who got involved with my argument with that very rude Owlin. I've never seen him before. Just wanted me to stop the fight, but wasn't going to let that Owlin get away with what he said."
Do I feel like she's being 100% honest with that, or do I pick up anything? I know I rolled pretty low.
Yeah, I mean that's what you get from that. You don't know if you the idea behind doing the insight check and not knowing what if they're using deception or if they're using persuasion, like to tell you things, is that you don't know from the outcome, if you haven't rolled high enough, whether or not they're being honest or or not.
Fair enough. Amorous is gonna move back to, or slow his pace so Kane and Galatea catches up to him and go, so she comes off as she doesn't know who you are either, but you're writing something is very weird about this. And I know that my magic is coming off different too. But there's too much we don't know about this realm. But if anything comes up, like you feel like you're forgetting something, please talk to us and we'll try to reignite memories best we can to try to keep each other remembered. I guess is the best we can put it.
Maybe they traded the memories.
Wait.
After his conversation, quite I think over a day ago now, with Galtia, Kane kind of looks thoughtful for a moment, and then he will pull out I want to say that I have like a charcoal stick and some parchment. I'll quickly check my inventory here. Close, common, investments. Okay, I don't actually, but I guess I will just kindly ask you, Galatia or Amaros, if either of you have something that I could write on. Very
Oh yeah,
quickly.
here. I'm an artist. I have all the things.
Nice.
So Kane will quickly scribble down a note, and he will hand it to Galatia and just say, if something happens and I forget who the rest of you are, show me this note and I'll know that I knew you.
Galatia will take the note, not look at it, nod, and put it in their pocket. Okay. I think we'll have to think of something like this. For now we should keep up, I think. Johan is getting quite far ahead.
Probably a good idea, yeah.
Yes, we should catch up, and maybe the memories will return at some point if she's truly a friend of mine. Then I hope they do. I seem to be running low on those at the moment, other than those I find myself with in this party.
And as you guys you're having this conversation at the back, Johan is continuing to walk. He walks out this center square and continues between the buildings. And as you're going sort of further along in between these houses, you do see more like families going about their business. As I said, there seems to be a reasonable amount of children here. It's much more sort of a family-orientated village. And although the time of day you don't know, it seems like there are more people around now at this hour than when you got here originally. And people just seem to be going about their daily duties. People with baskets going into town. Various people who have jobs maybe within the town heading to work. You do see quite a few other people who don't seem to have much of a purpose. There are quite a lot of people sort of hanging around, sort of like generally some fawns and goat folk who seem to be going into sort of small groups, sort of heading towards the forest. You see several of them with maybe an axe or a saw of some type. But there seems to be a lot of discussion going on. People sort of nodding, shaking their heads. Different groups sort of separating up. Some people going some way, some people going another way. There doesn't seem to be much order to whatever it is they're doing. It looks like there may be like there's some hunters and some wood cutters as well. But yeah, there are people there, and some other people who are just sort of sitting outside their houses. They've got axes, they've got saws close by, but it looks like either they decided they've given up for the day, or perhaps they've been chopping wood, but they've come home again now. But they don't seem to be very tired. But yeah, it's just odd. You would expect maybe, a large group of people like that having something to do with their day, but they seem to be milling about and not doing much at the moment. A lot of conversation and not a lot happening for some reason. But Johan continues on his way through the town until he comes to a large house to the north of the town, just before the path takes you back into the woods.
Before we get to the house,
Yes.
Tisvan would turn to Johan during this walk up here and ask him, who were those bastards back there? The feathered ones.
He will turn to you as he's continued walk. He'll slow his pace a little bit while he's having a conversation, and he turns to you and says, "The Scarwood God. I would not put up with them if we did not need their protection. Sadly, I am not able to protect my people as much as I wanted to. And so they were invited here into this town. But, as you can see, they are arrogant bastards sent by the princess. They have no care for this town. They have no care for these people. But my hands are tied. I do what I can, but until we rid ourselves of this evil, I cannot send them away."
And the emblem that he was wearing, was that his personal, or is that one of the Scarwood Guard?
This is the symbol of the Scarwood Guard. The royal guard.
All right, thank you.
Here, this is our house. And you see this large building, which is behind this fine wooden fence. And it stands out in contrast to the other buildings in the town. Although the construction of it is similar, with a high sort of sod roof and wooden walls, the craftsmanship of this particular building is exquisite. The wooden beams have been carved to allow the rooms to have more of a sort of an oval or rounded appearance. And each one has been adorned with carvings of flowers and leaves. There's a tall white chimney growing from the center of the roof, and it's topped with a bright copper pot that lazily dispenses white plumes of smoke. There are great patches of flowers that are growing down from the roof in pink, white, and yellow, and beautiful round windows with intricate wooden lattice work that gives the whole building a sort of a grand but friendly appearance. So, and obviously, whoever lives here, Johan being one person, but as you know, the Burgermeister, it's obviously very important and well loved. As you walk along the fence, approaching the entrance to the grounds, you make a troubling discovery. The wooden gates that you imagine once stood strong and proud in front of the estate are twisted and broken. The right gate lies smashed on the ground, splintered and ripped by what looks like claws. And the left gate swings back and forth in the gentle wind, its hinges squeaking, ending with a bang as it strikes the fence wall before returning to squeak once more. This is the Eresti estate, or what is left. And he continues to walk inside along a cobbled path into past the fence. And you see that the cobbled path itself that leads up to the main house, many of the bricks have been displaced from the ground, and there are large sort of footprints that have been sort of gouged into the earth, heading up towards the house itself. This is where the Chernobog attacked my family. Attacked us seemingly at random. Well, so they say.
What
You
kind
can
of
see
creature is this Talbog. I don't really know how you pronounce it.
He turns to look at you, and he looks. His eyes are sad as he recounts the beast. It is the spawn of hell. The creature is large like a bear, but with black fur. It has red burnings and twisted antlers on its head. A fearsome creature to be sure. But it is strange. It moves differently. It is not like a bear. I have fought many bears. This is... It has power. It has speed. It is... It's possessed demon bear. I don't know. It's... We hear the stories of this creature from other places, but I never thought it would come to this place. To my home. You can see the damage it has caused. And he points towards the house. And you see there's a big round wooden door at the front, a bit like the Hobbit door, which has great claw marks scratched down it from the outside. And where there were panes of glass, they're now just sort of smashed and shards littering on the floor. The door itself seems mainly intact, being mainly solid wood, but claw marks continue around the building until they reach. You see a bay window at one side, or what was once a window. It's now boarded up and barred with planks of wood placed at odd angles. Do you want to give me anyone who's looking can give me a perception check?
Moira rolled 19.
19?
Ability rolled 13.
I don't know
Emira's
how...
rolled 5.
I don't know how you're rolling, Ross, but it seems to be displayed differently than other people. I'm not quite sure what it's doing. It's sort of, if you look at the chat layout, it's sort of, I don't know how it's doing it. It's sort of doing it in sort of split. I don't know if it's just me or you can see it the same way on your screen.
I do notice that it's different, yeah.
Yeah, it sort of has your number above the top and then underneath what you rolled. I don't know why it's doing that, but the number at the top is what you rolled.
Is what I rolled. I think it shows the modifier that I have. That's the number on top.
It's the number above is like the total number, and then the number below is what was on the die.
Yes. No. What's below is the total. So 5. Or
yeah,
wait,
so
you meant when holding
the number at the top, the 5 is the total. The number underneath the 1d20 is what you rolled, and then the plus 1 is what makes it up to 5. But yeah, I don't know why it's, because if you look at Kane and everybody else underneath, they're all rolled in the right way. So I'm not quite sure how are you doing your roll?
I roll in D20.
So you're not clicking
in D&D Beyond. I'm thinking differently.
Oh, you're rolling in D&D Beyond, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's bringing it in differently than how you would roll it in the game. Okay, that's all right. I just wondered why it was different than everybody else's.
Do that any other time we've done it, though.
No, I maybe there needs to be an update or something. I didn't fear now updating the software just in case it breaks it all again like last time. So
yeah, I'm not gonna update it.
as long as I know where the number is that you roll, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So what did we get here? We got that was a perception check. Yeah. So 13, 19, 20. Okay. So there's another of you there that when you've looked across there. So those of you that scored above 10, we'll say. So you see these gashes in the wall and the floor that show that like a large beast of some kind has forced its way inside through this window. But what you notice is there are still a few strands of black fur that are caught in the remaining shards of glass poking from the frame. And Johan, turns to look at the house, and it's a mess still, but I will get to repair it. With the lumber mill being out of business, it is difficult. We have less wood to use these days. I will repair it at some point. And he will continue up to the door. But as he steps on the steps that lead up to the front door, they make a sort of a creaking noise, being split. But before he can say anything else, inside the house you hear a female voice shouting out, "Who goes there? You are not welcome here, Gloomguard. If you try to enter, I will kill each one of you with my bare hands. You will not touch him." And Johan turns to you, and he sort of puts his hands up, sort of suggesting that you sort of wait there. And he will knock on the door and say, "So Hannah, it is all right. It is me. It is your brother." And you'll hear sort of like the squeaking of chairs being pulled and maybe a lock being undone before the front door opens. And standing in front of the doorway is another fawn, which I will give you the description of this time before I forget.
She's hot, isn't she?
She is. They're all hot. That's what they've done. So standing there.
They created video. Of course they're gonna be.
So standing in the doorway, there is a fawn, 5'5". She's again human ages. She's in about her 20s. She's got light brown skin, blue eyes, thick curly cream white hair that spills down to the middle of her back. A set of white antlers that grow back up from the top of her head, and a piece of jewelry with a blue stone hangs from the left one. And she's got sort of perky, sort of soft ears that frame her face. She wears a short yellow blouse with bishop sleeves, with a warm grey waistcoat trimmed with gold over the top. A pair of grey half-palm gloves on her hands, and a matching yellow skirt is tied at her waist that reaches just below her knees. She's got fine, creamy fine, creamy fur covers her legs that end with light grey hooves. There is a belt with several small pockets attached to it on a leather apron that hangs down in front of her. And hanging off of it is the sort of a clawed tool that hangs on the side. And when she opens the door, she stands there, hands on hip for a moment, before running out and jumping up and hugging her brother around the waist. Oops, I've just closed my window with all the information. Shit. 1 second, please. Thank you. Then she says, so she hugs him for a moment and then just drops down to her feet and looks at him with a pout, and she says, "Brother, drinking again, I see. Come in, you idiot. Who have you brought home with you this time?" And she sort of grabs him by the arm. She can't quite reach up to his ear, and sort of grabs him and pulls him in through the door, and he reluctantly lets her pull him into the house. A little bit sort of finding her voice a little bit too shrill and high currently for his obvious migraine, and he just sort of staggers into the house.
Moira whispers to whoever happens to be the closest of the party, probably Tisfen. I thought there was supposed to be something wrong with her. Seems pretty normal to me.
Didn't he say that she was bitten?
Oh, well, yeah, but I expected her to be like bedridden or something, almost dying or something.
That was my thought too. Guess we'll just have to go in and see.
Yep.
And sorry, go on.
At the same time, can I lean in and whisper to Kane, "She looks fine."
I think that Kane is a little taken aback because after all the excitement that he'd experienced with the guard, I imagine he had just kind of been blindly following the party and had forgotten the whole conversation about the sister had happened. I want to say that he only caught the tail end of it, or maybe the beginning of it before.
Yeah, he I don't know how much of you heard because obviously you left before he had that kind of conversation about it. So I'm not even sure if you knew anything about the sister or anything like that. I think from the letter it said about the Burgermeister's daughter was languishing and dying from a wound. So you may have known the information from that, but not from him.
I think I told everyone about it, and
All right.
Kane decided that he would just make more trouble being around because of the interaction before. So that's why he left.
Yeah,
Right.
Kane's kind of assumed that everything went fine, considering the fact that this guy isn't trying to push my face in right now.
Yeah.
So he kind of assumes that everything was cleared up, chilled
Yeah.
out. We're going to see the sister, and when she rushes out and embraces him, and Galatea says what she says, I think Kane will kind of turn to her with a look of confusion, and then his eyes kind of light up with that realization of, oh yeah, that's why we're here. Ah, yes. Well, I haven't used up all of my divine favor for the day. Maybe, if something has happened to her, I could attempt to right it.
Galatea's just gonna stare at Kane, just trying to figure out if he's really okay or not. Just nodding slightly. Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna stick close.
Well,
Sorry, I was just I'll continue. So, Johan goes in and he just walks into the house and he sort of going in there. And as you sort of follow, the fawn turns around in the doorway in front of you, before you can enter, and she says, "So, who are you people? Heroes for hire?" No, she's not Scottish. Why am I doing that accent? Who are you people? Heroes for hire, come to save our poor innocent folk from the evil princess? Or perhaps servants of the benevolent god who wishes to undo the wrongs that have been done to us? Or are you just more ill-fated travelers who have unwittingly wandered into our world, trapping themselves?
I kind of say a little bit of both, to be honest.
Both. So you are saviors, but also locked in here with us.
Yes.
Well, my brother always brings home the most interesting people. I suppose you are welcome. Come in. And she stands to one side and beckons you into the house.
As we step in, Moira says, we heard that you were a victim of a
Chernobog, yes.
Cherno thingamajiggy.
Chernobog, yes, I was bitten by the Chernobog. Please, if you could keep that information a little less, more to yourself. Don't really want the rest of the village to know that our family is now cursed.
Oh, yes. Myself and Kane here know some form of healing-ish, which is why we offered to maybe assist. But you seem fine, if I might be so blunt.
Well, yes, I expect my brother has blown this out of proportion slightly, as did my father. Yes, I am not on death's door. I am not dying. But please come in. We will discuss. We will discuss this in more detail. But yes, if you can help, I would be most grateful. But I think they have exaggerated my condition.
We'll head inside. It's not possible on the map, but
No, yeah, I was starting to build a map for this the house today, but I wasn't able to finish it, unfortunately. But next time we will have an interior. But I'll just describe it for you.
Sorry.
The interior of the house is simple but well finished. Beautiful wooden beams run up the walls and across the high ceilings, crisscrossing intersections. Floor is covered in intricately weaved rugs of bright patterns, and standing by the door is a well-used hat and coat rack. The entrance turns directly into a hallway and then splits left and right. The left leading into a study of some kind, and the right opens up into the living room. And as you go into it, the female fawn goes over and closes the door to the study, which is coincidentally where Johan has gone and just sort of collapsed on the sofa. And so she closes the door, and she sort of beckons you off into the living room area, which has a warm fireplace and various seating around. And she says, "Forgive me, I have not introduced myself, and I expect my brother has probably forgotten to do such thing. His manners are not what they once were. I am Sohana Eresti. Pleased to meet you."
Pleased to meet you too. I am Moira.
Very nice to meet you, Moira. Please, there are so many of you. If you could, please sit around. Do not disturb to bump into the. And she points towards the center of the living room, and on the table you see a large, long, about 6 foot long box that is sitting on top of what you imagine is sort of a coffee table in the center of the room.
Galatea will just sort of stand awkwardly by the side.
Moira kind of side eyes everyone.
Introduce yourselves. Manners.
Oh, I'm Anori. Sorry. Hi.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm Anori.
Anori, very pleased to meet you. And you said your name was Amaros?
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Welcome.
Galatea is gonna look to the others who gave their names and just like shake their head.
Oh, I have to try and come up with a fake name for me and Bula now.
Does Bula know this?
It would Bula.
Good point. Actually, because I don't know Bula at the moment, so
No.
I couldn't. I probably wouldn't kindly turn around to her and tell her to use a fake name. So I don't know if she would.
I'm assuming Bula would just say her name's Bula. I don't think she would know to do that, and especially if she's not prompted by you, Kane. I don't think she would probably know.
I'm imagining she'd just go, "Hi, I'm Bula."
Yeah.
Kane will give a little nod of his head and say, "My name is Levanen."
Levine, pleasure. And you? And she turns to the Shadokai.
The name's Van. Pleased to meet you.
Van, very nice. Please, all, please take a seat, if if you like. I apologize for the condition of our home currently, and unfortunately, there is nowhere else we would be able to store my father at the moment. So, if you can, just please do not knock the box in the center of the room. And those of you that are tall enough, probably Moira, you're the only one who's too short to see inside the box. But this is a very simply made coffin, and lying in it is an older fawn currently.
We're really sorry for your loss.
Aye.
If there's anything we can do to help.
I suppose what you came here for was to help me my injury. I suppose that would be it. There is nothing anyone can no longer do for my father, sadly. But and she will start to roll up or pull up the bishop's sleeve of her yellow top on her left arm, and as she does, you'll see that she has large gouge marks from an extremely wide bite on it that covers almost the top and lower part of her arm. There are puncture wounds from fangs that seem to go extremely deep into the muscle. And you notice that when she was putting her arm up to pull the sleeve up, it seemed to be a struggle to do that. You'd imagine that whatever these teeth that have pierced into her armor have probably done some damage internally. But the bite itself, although large and obviously scarred her arm, seems to be clean.
Oh dear. That is quite the injury.
Yes, it has taken some time for me to clean, but my arm does not work quite as well as it used to, but it does not seem to be infected as far as I know, although when I was initially bitten, there was a black ichor that was infused in the bite, but it seems to have cleared up.
Let's see.
Moira is digging into her pouches.
But it
Anybody else
is how do you all how have you all arrived here? It is not uncommon for us to have visitors from other worlds here, but we have not seen anyone for maybe a week or two.
Well, we were in a carnival, and we were having, I think it was our fortunes read or something, and then there was a storm, and then we got blown into a tent, and then we woke up in the creepy woods.
All of this said while her face is like inside her pouch.
And she'll sort of nod and she'll like, oh, very interesting. I feel like it was very similar to somebody else who arrived here before some time ago. Does this happen a lot in your world with carnivals?
Sorry, how long ago?
Oh, maybe 7 or 8 moons.
Oh. Okay. Galateo will stand and sulk a little.
But please, I will not wish to be rude. Would you care for refreshment?
While it would be appreciated, I think it's better if these two, gesturing to the two clerics, get a chance to get a proper look at that wound of yours.
She'll roll up her sleeve as far as it will go, and she'll say, by all means, if there is something you think you can do, and she'll just sort of hold her arm out. Yeah, if any of you want to make a medicine check or something else, if you've got any abilities.
At this point, Moira throws up her hand holding a leaf of some sort. Aha! Found it. And she's gonna go up to her, look at the wound, and I would like to attempt to cast Detect Poison and Disease.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
So basically, if there is any if there is some sort of disease, yeah.
So it's just something that happens. It's like basically you would detect it within a 30-foot radius. There's no roll as such. Cool. So you study the bite mark. You can see that the bite has definitely punctured the arm. The size of the bite is pretty large. Give me a nature check to see if you can kind of gauge the sort of what could have created something that large.
The foundry wanted me to just plant this purple.
I think you may have selected something on the side, to make a shape of a measurement tool. It's alright, I'll get rid of it for you.
Wait, nature?
A nature check, yeah. Well, so based on Johann's description, you would sort of say this is, well, you think this is probably a bit bigger than a bear bite. You can kind of know how big a bear is. This is pretty large and it's very deep, where the fangs have punctured. The other thing you notice as well is that if a creature of this size, and looking at the puncture wounds itself, when it's bitten into the arm, it's odd that the whatever bit this fawn didn't just commit to the bite. Something with the jaw this wide, and for the punches to be so deep, but not all the way through, literally biting the arm in twain. Seems odd. It's almost like it bit but then let go again, rather than actually committing to biting through and destroying whatever it was trying to bite. However, it has done a significant amount of damage to the arm because, as I say, it's punctured into the muscles and the veins there. But in regards to your poison and your disease, you don't sense any kind of poison or disease there. The wounds themselves seem to be clean. You don't see any discoloration or anything around the teeth marks. So Sahana says, I told my brother to stop worrying about me. I have treated the wound. It does not seem infected, but there is a possibility. People say that a bite from this creature could, well, we're not sure. Some people believe if left untreated, the person could become a monster herself. As I say, this is more of, I don't know, a legend. But hey, it has been a few days. I feel fine. I'm sure it is just an old hag's tale. But I do appreciate you coming here to check on it and for seeming to cure me if I was. But as I say, I'm sure my brother is just blowing it out of proportion. He blames himself for our father's death and for my injury, and nothing I will say will give him peace of mind. And,
Well,
mhm.
there is no infection or disease. You've done a good job cleaning it. It is definitely bigger than a bear. That's for certain. And I kind of look at the group like kind of like it's bigger than a bear. SOS! Panic! And then jump back. I just find it. Yeah, I do find it odd that instead of usually creatures as big as this, when they bite, they also they don't just bite. They eat. They don't just puncture and leave. So they usually take a bigger chunk with them as well. So yeah, and with what you just said, if there is a risk of potentially you turning into a creature of this magnitude as well, that I do not blame your brother for being concerned. Certainly.
At the mention of it's bigger than a bear, and with the description and everything, does it trigger any memory or anything about a Chernobog?
to you, like something you've seen before, you mean?
Yeah. I want to know.
Yeah, give me a history, a history check, just to see if you've ever heard of anything like that.
Nope, I've seen nothing like it.
No, I mean, you've seen and you've heard about bears before, but the description of this one being, a much bigger bear, red eyes, it has like antlers on its head. It seems like a horrible monstrosity of some sort, an amalgamation of creatures or some of sorts, something out of nightmares, but not something that you've ever heard of or come in contact with before.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
He's kind of been watching quietly from the sidelines and letting Moira attempt her spell because he was interested in seeing what the effects of that would be. Kane is going to step forward and just kind of politely say to the sister, I understand that to your knowledge everything is fine and the wound is cleaned, but would you mind if perhaps I attempted some of my own magics as a preemptive measure? If nothing happens, I promise not to prod any further, but all it's going to do is good if it does work.
By all means, if you think it is worth your time, as I say, I would not put too much stock into these tales. I have never been one for listening to idle bedtime stories that people tell. It is a beast, as far as I know, an evil one. But if you think it would be worth your time, then please, yes.
And with that, Kane is gonna kind of step forward. I will just check if this is a touch spell. It might be. It is a touch spell, so he'll just kind of slowly lay his hand close to the wound, not on the wound.
Yep.
And I'm going to cast Protection from Evil and Good.
Okay. So that'll take 10 minutes for you to cast that.
It is one action.
Yep. Oh, sorry. The duration is 10 minutes. Sorry. So for 10 minutes, the recipient of this is protected against aberrations, celestials, elementals, fey fiends, and the undead.
Kane is more interested in the reaction
Right.
to the spell than it potentially curing anything. He wants to see if there's an effect there when the spell's applied.
Right. So yeah, when you cast the spell, you don't. You definitely sense Fey. This creature is a Fey creature.
Funnily enough, yeah.
But you don't sense anything else. You don't sense any evil or any of the other evil possession or anything else like that.
Kane will kind of turn to Moira and say, well, we've ruled out evil, good, poison and disease, at least, so we know that we don't have to focus on those avenues.
And then she once you've done that, she thanks you and she rolls her sleeve back down again to her wrist. And she goes over to the coffin where her father is lying, and if you look, if you're standing, you'll probably better see into the coffin being standing around inside the front room there. The body is of a elderly fawn, about 6 foot, with light brown weathered skin, broad shoulders with a thick muscular arms and hands, thick dark brown hair down the shoulders, and he has a well-groomed thick goatee. He's got a pair of long soft brown ears that hang by either side of his face. He wears a white linen collarless shirt with long sleeves and a lace up front, a long dark green hakama covering his legs, similar to the blue one that his son is wearing, but it's fastened with a gold brooch. Reading the wrong bit. Hakama on the legs, with just his dark grey hooves visible. He has a brown cloak affixed around his shoulders, fastened with a gold brooch at the neck. And under his hands has been placed a green wide-brimmed hat that has a mottled yellow feather that's tucked into the headband. He has some visible scratches on his hands and face, and his neck is covered with a scarf. And Sahana goes over to the coffin and she looks down and she says, "Our father, he was the kindest man I knew. The villagers loved him. You know, he built most of the town with his bare hands. Started the lumber mill before we were cut off from the Feywild. Even then, he rallied the villagers and kept our spirits up. He even fell in love." And she kneels down next to her father and just gently takes his hand and strokes his fingers. A tear sort of runs down her cheek. "Don't even know what happened to Leah."
Didn't know what happened to what? Sorry.
She looks up to Leah. She was my father's friend. Well, lover, I suppose. It was still rather a new relationship. My father would not allow himself to the time to find another partner after our mother passed away. Always too busy with the town. But a few months ago, he met her in the market, a blacksmith of all things, and I guess you can experience love at first sight at any age. But she was here when the channel bug attacked. But I don't know what happened. She seemed to vanish. Maybe she just ran away. I don't know. But I wish I could tell her about our father. This spell will not last forever, and we need to bury him soon.
Did it attack her as well? Did you see?
Well, it all happened so fast. Yes, I think it broke through the window, and my father was standing by the window. It attacked him, and it's hard to remember. When it bit me, I fell, and I just remember looking up, and Jorhan, he fought so hard to protect us. He blames himself for our father's death and for my injury, but there was nothing else he could have done. He chased the beast off single-handed, cut it so many times, just wouldn't die. Just don't know why it attacked. I don't remember where Leah was. I think she was with my father by the window, but I can't remember. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna look over to Johan. Do you remember?
Johan's in the other room. He went into the study and was laying on the couch, and she shut the doors when you came in.
Oh, right, sorry.
But you can go in there if you wouldn't want to.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm just gonna check on Johan, if that's okay.
Of course, yes, he is in the study, just sleeping it off, I believe. And she'll put her father's hand back and put it back into place again, and just straighten his hat and just fuss, trying to make everything perfect.
Can I
Yeah,
go
you can go back to the you saw when you came in where she shut the doors.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna head in and see if he's awake.
Yeah, so you open the doors and he's just laying on the sort of there's a couch in there next to a desk, and he's just got his hands over his face currently, just resting the palms of his hand against his eyes and just sort of lightly groaning. And when you open the doors and come in, he just takes one hand away and slowly opens one eye and looks towards you. He's like, yes.
Sorry. I just had a question, if it's okay.
Of course, yes. And he'll sit up on the couch and try and shake the migraine away. How can I help?
I was just wondering if you remembered, was it Leah, your father's partner?
Yes, Leah. Yes, you met her not so long ago. I have not seen her. My sister and father were in the house, and when the creature attacked, I ran in from the workhouse, and it was too late to do anything for my father, but I fought the beast and chased it into the forest. Did not seem to want to have much of a fight after I had slashed it several times, but I do not happen to clear. I followed the beast into the forest for a while, but I never saw her.
Do Do you know where she was when the beast came in?
I was in the workhouse outside, but as far as I know, my father and her were in the house somewhere.
Okay.
He was quite enamored with her. Although she would never replace, obviously, her mother, she is. This seems to be a good person. He was even telling me the other day about the sword, new sword that I could have. Bothered to follow that up for obvious reasons. But we have not seen a body. I assume she has run away, or if I saw this beast coming towards me, I would not. I would not hold it against her if she ran off into the forest. But there are many dangerous things in the forest. Probably was not the smartest.
So she's in trouble as well. Probably.
Well, if, as far as I know, if he was in the house with my father and there is no body there, then he either ran into the woods or ran into the village, or he's not here. She was not killed. As far as I know, the beast did not carry her away or anything like that. I fought the beast and chased it off into the forest. It left with nothing.
Yeah. Well, you fought it off. That's good.
I thought it would. Well, it gave me a run for my money, let us say, but I was too late to stop it from attacking my father and my sister. There was nothing I could do.
By the sounds of it, it was a formidable beast. Handling it single-handed, it's impressive.
Perhaps, but I was not able to. With all my skill, with all my training, I was not able to protect the ones I love. But it is odd that the creature did not seem to lose interest. To attack and kill and not fight for its food, or to even kill me. It could have eventually overpowered me, I am sure. This is a very powerful animal, but it decided to run. Doesn't seem. If you were winning a fight, would you throw your sword down and leave? Seems strange.
No. It does seem strange. It all seems strange.
All I know is that I was not where I should have been by my father's side.
You couldn't have been all the time. No one. You expect too much of yourself.
I should have been more aware. I should have been with my father. But I was training, and he asked me to be here. He had something to say to his bullier. I was too busy training. If I had been in the house, I could have. Or at least he could have taken me instead of.
What do you mean? Yeah, that he. Sorry. What do you mean he had something to say to her?
I can only surmise, but I expect after knowing her for this amount of time, my father was very confident in his decisions. I assume he meant to propose or confess his love or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's a selfish thing, but I did not think that my father would ever find someone else rather than her. It is childish belief. I should have been happy for him, but I had been there. But, it's the decision I made, and I will regret it always. But have you been able to help my sister? Have you been able to heal her wound?
Galatea will look at towards the room and just say, I think they're working on it.
And
I
he'll stand up and make his way towards the main room. I have rested enough, I suppose. It is time to face my father again.
Kane is giving Galatea a look of beckoning when he sees them again.
I assume you both, Johan and yourself, will return to the others.
Oh yeah. If he wants to go back, Galatea will head back.
Yeah, he'll go back into the main room.
Galatea will just nod to Kane and nod towards the door. Following his lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll quickly walk out the door. He's not trying to be particularly sneaky, but he's also not trying to catch anyone's attention.
Sorry, where are you going? You were going out the door, out the front door.
Yeah.
Outside, I assume, just for a quick word in private.
Yeah, you can. No one will stop you if you want to go outside.
Mm-hmm. I'll step outside and kind of hold the door open halfway for Galatea.
Galatea would slip off as well as Johan heads back in. Not making a fuss or trying to be quiet, just not saying anything.
Yeah, same here. Essentially, Kane kind of waits for the door to close again, and he says to you in a slightly hushed voice, I don't know if it's relevant to anything that's happening here, but do you remember when we first came into this place where we found that letter?
Yeah. The bear.
Well, precisely. I thought that after I saw you had a conversation with the person that isn't too fond of me, it seems, I suddenly had it come to my mind that if people are being bitten, that bear seemed awfully anthropomorphic.
Wait. Wait. What did it? What did it say?
Out of character, I think we've got it written down somewhere. I
Yeah.
want to say you described it briefly earlier, Faye.
I'm desperately trying to open it. I can't make it.
Was it the letter?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, wait. It said it was from the dad saying that she had been bitten, but that hadn't happened yet. It can't have been from him.
Is this something that we should bring to their attention or keep to ourselves for now?
No, we should hand it to them. We should give it to them. This is about them. They should. this could help. We can't.
After the explosive reaction I had asking questions earlier, I wanted someone else's opinion before I produced information that could be... He kind of like sighs, searching for the best word for it, that could have long-lasting mental repercussions for the people that we hand it to.
I think he was just struggling. I don't think it was anything you did or didn't do. It was just a trigger.
Be that as it may, perhaps it's best that someone other than me is the one to bring this up.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And what?
Kane will... He'll motion to like the door again.
Yeah. Galatius is gonna pause and stand there, trying to put everything together, just desperately puzzling. There's something else strange. Where's Leah? Where did she go? How did she just vanish? And I don't understand. I wish I knew more about all these creatures and things, and I just want to do something. I need to do something.
Well, maybe when they're presented with this letter, they'll be more persuaded to give us any more information that they have, if they have any more.
Yeah. Galatea is just gonna rub their forehead and close their eyes tight and stand there for a minute. And then just storm back in again. Not like slamming the door open, but definitely determined.
While we've been having this conversation outside, Johan went back into the room to his sister, and he looked to you, Moira, and said, "Have you been able to help my sister? Were you able to cure her wound?"
Well, I have checked for any diseases, no diseases, no infection, so everything is good on that front. The wound is pretty deep and quite nasty. I am not sure if the wound itself is able to be cured in the magical means. But I mean, I guess anything is worth a try if that is okay for both of you.
Whatever you can do for my sister, I know that it may seem silly to put a lot of stock in idle stories. If is a chance my sister has contracted something that could kill her, I would see her cured before anything else. But if you say she has no disease, if the wound is clean, then I guess we must take stock that, at least for now, she is safe.
Yes. Well. Um.
Oh god, I was trying to say something, but I forgot the words. But I will do a cure wounds.
When Tisvan sees Moira start preparing her spell, he will step in and ask, "May I try first? As I do have some manners of healing myself."
Oh, is that to me?
Yes.
Oh. Well. Yes. Of course. Of course.
Tisvan will hold out his hand to Sohana.
Yep.
And wait for her to lay her arm.
Yeah, she
in his hand.
rolls up her sleeve again, and she holds her arm out.
He'll cover his hands both above and under her arm, and he will use, 5 points of his. What's it called now again?
Lay on hands?
Lay on hands, exactly. Thank you.
Okay, so using 5 HP from that pool that you've got.
Yep.
Okay. So you cast over her arm, and you feel the healing energy sort of spreading out along her hand. And although you don't see any you don't see the wounds themselves dissipate, the puncture wounds that she's got there. She lets out a sort of a little sigh of relief, and you see that her able to flex her hand again, and she moves her arm backwards and forwards. Oh, thank you. I don't know what you have done, but that does feel a lot better. It is. I can move my arm again more freely. Thank you. That is much better.
No worries. I'm sorry that I can't do more.
No, that is fine. The scar does not bother me so much. It was the lack of use of my arm that would hinder me with my work. But that is most grateful. Thank you so much. And Johan will place his hand on your shoulder and nod and say, "Thank you, my friend. Thank you."
Is there any visible change to the injury itself?
Give me a perception check.
Okey-dokey.
Ooh, very good. 23, very nice. So you take another look, a closer look at the bite itself, and you can see that, the indentations where the fangs are still just as deep as they were before, but the healing that has happened to them has obviously internally helped whatever was needed healing there. The marks themselves seem to be scarred. They were very deep in there. With the 23, you do realize now, having a bit of a closer look, that very wide bite that you saw on the arm, it's not actually one bite. There are 2 bites there, but the way they are on the arm, they look almost like one. And one of them looks slightly older than the other one.
Oh. This is not one bite. This is 2 bites. Have you been bitten twice?
She will retract her arm quickly and pull up the sleeve slightly and say, no, it was just the once. just the one time. And Johan will raise his eyebrow. Sister, is this true? Is this 2 bites or 1 bite? You have been bitten before. And she will look a little concerned and look up at her brother. It is all right. Father said it would be okay. It is not for you to worry about.
I'm sorry, but with all due respect, with it being 2 bites instead of 1, I do think that there is a bit more concern. I think as you know, we are basically outsiders. Would this town happen to have a library of sorts? Because I think there needs to be a bit more research done.
The Johan will look down at you and say, there is no library in this place. Perhaps in High Ankle. It is a larger town to the north. They may have more scholars. They may have more knowledge. It was before you came. I was thinking about taking my sister there to find a healer to help her, but I cannot leave the village in the hands of the Scarlet God. But I am more concerned currently about the second bite, and why I was not told about such things. And Fahana will look up and she will just say, "It was, you are not supposed to know, it was the Chernobog. It is the second time I have seen it. Well, I was out in the woods behind the house. It bit me then, and then a couple of days ago. Did not mention it because, well, Father told me not to, but now I think he died because it was coming after me. It is my fault. It is my fault he is dead."
Now, let's do not blame yourself.
But if I had said something, if I had told people about it beforehand, I thought it. I didn't think it would come back for me. I thought it was just a bear. Thought it would go away. I thought.
Hindsight is cruel sometimes. But I think for now we have done what we can. But yes, research must be done. Oh, we do not know enough. And Demora is just kind of just gonna sit back and just like how do I say, like, put on this like thinking face and like mumbling to herself.
Johan will look down sternly at his sister for a few moments before kneeling down with her and just embracing her. You should have told me. And after a moment, she will wipe away her tears from her eyes. I should have told you. You are right. Our father was adamant that you should not know. He did not want to worry you. He knew you would rush off into the forest and probably get yourself killed. If I had suspected for a moment that it would have come back, I would have told you without even thinking. There is nothing that can be done. I have, as you see, I have been bitten twice, and nothing. I am fine. The stories are. It's just a rumor. It is fine. It is just a creature like everything else, an evil-looking creature, but nothing more. Surely, after 2 bites, I should have had some kind of reaction. Even these people, even this Moira has checked. She says there is no disease, there is no evil there. The other fellow, the cleric, he has protected me from evil and such, and did nothing. I'm sure there is nothing to worry about. Let us focus on our father. Let us focus on burying him. Let us try to move on. Our next problem is to find the time to bury him without the Scarwood Guard interfering. Those damn Gloom Guard are, no matter what you say, they are taking over our village. I know that they are protecting us, or say that they will protect us from more Chernobog attack, but we cannot live in fear the rest of our lives. We must take back our town from them. We are left in charge of this place. Our family has run this place for centuries. We must stand up and protect it. We do not need the Gloom Guard anymore. Please tell them to go. And Johan will remain silent for a little bit, thinking, and eventually stand up and say, "Thank you, all of you, for assisting my sister. I appreciate you spending your time healing, making sure that she is well. I know you have already done us this favor. I hate to impose on you further, but my sister is right. With our father gone, this town is looking to us for answers, and if I had not been deep within the drink for the last few days, I would have seen this further, seen this sooner. But it's time these bastards leave our town. But I am sadly only one man.
I'm sure that Bula is going to pipe up right now and be all in on this.
She does. She does, in fact. She does. She boots in and she's like, "Yeah, let's kick those bastards' asses. Let's skin them alive." I will wait for her reaction when we next play. But I think before we finish up for this evening, I think he will say, I have pandered to their words for too long, and if you would be willing to assist me in moving these guards out, as I hesitate to say diplomatically, but I do not want to bring the forces of the princess down upon us. But perhaps with a larger force, a show of force, perhaps we can persuade them to leave. And if we cannot persuade them, perhaps we may, with your strength added to mine, perhaps we can make it more of a suggestion, more of a command.
While I always been one to prefer talking my way out of things, I will say that I wouldn't be against giving these guys a kick down their high horse, as we used to say back home. But I will stand by if we can make them leave by talk to them first, then that's preferable. But I'm not gonna be against picking a fight with them either at this point. Considering they don't really come off as people who want to actually help, I would say.
Their leader is an arrogant prick. He will be the one that you need to convince of this. I do not know the others. Perhaps the others can be talked to. Perhaps they can be persuaded. But this Owlin is different. He is... Sorry, she is very disagreeable. She has pissed off many people in this town, myself included, many, many times. And there is a very brittle friendship. Not friendship, but agreement between us. But I believe there are other things going on. I believe they are here for other reasons other than to protect the town, the Chanbo. I would suggest that perhaps we take a couple of days to investigate them before approaching them with any kind of suggestion that they leave. Perhaps we can get more of the town behind us. They would not stand much of a chance if everyone in town was behind us. But the people here are fearful of the god. They do not want to bring the wrath of the princess upon us, and as far as they are aware, those that do not interact with this god often, they are here. And so they have no reason to suspect their interference.
Thing that actually came to my mind. They said that the large tree is sacred. Was that sacred before or after they came?
It was always a secret place, but not for the same reasons. Its lofty branches once covered our town, protected us from the sky. But when the princess trapped us here in this plane, the tree was taken by the guard, and the fire that now plumes from its top destroyed the branches, burnt them away to a ash of some kind, black, almost necrotic-like dust that infested the tree, brought it down, severing its branches, bringing them crashing down to our buildings below. It has
That
meaning
really,
to...
that really sounds like they're overstepping their boundaries even there, I would say. Like, if it was sacred to your people and the people of this town in general, then them showing up, claiming to protect and literally ruining something that is sacred, that would be something a lot of people would argue for them being thrown out of the town.
This is true. And if it was not sacred to our princess as well, I would agree with you. But our princess is different. She would never have done this in the past, but since we have been cut off from the rest of the Feywild, she has changed. This sacred tree, this sacred to our own gods, our own hierarchy, I suppose, in this world. It was important to her, and so when her gods came and they wanted to enter the tree, to enter its sacred center, it was not something that we thought would happen. It was not something that we thought we had to worry about, but over time she has taken over this tower. For whatever this light, this violet light is doing, it is important to her, and she has placed it in a sacred place. I do not know why. It is guarded, as you can see, night and day. There is no way to enter other than the door. It is corrupt, I suppose, the word you could say. It may be a good point for rallying the people of the village. It is a common area that we were proud to have in our village, and now, although its husk remains, it is not the same as it once was. But with the power of the princess and her guards controlling this land, it is difficult to see a way of taking it back. And Bula will put a hand on Johann's shoulder and say, I'm sure we can be quite persuasive in getting rid of these assholes. And then she'll turn to the rest of the group and say, we've faced people like this before. Come on, Kane, we can do it. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
What? No, what? What?
Wait
a second, did she get her memory back?
What?
Wait, what?
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 How dare you cliffhanger us like this?
Yeah, Yeah,
No.
she acknowledges
This
Kane.
is the kind of reaction, like, that I live for at the end of a D&D session. Oh,
Our DM is
Cliffhangers,
evil.
the bane and the blessing of any campaign.
That's it. Well, I will leave you on that cliffhanger. And yeah, thank you very much for playing. I hope you have enjoyed the session. It's been a little bit more of a lore dump of information than we've had previously, but
Well, yeah, you've got so much to figure out.
Love it.
Thank you for giving
Love
us
it.
some answers.
you got a few things to think about.
Just a few.
what was the name of the city that had the library?
Hi, Hankel.
High Hankel.
That's where I have to go and get vodka.
That's right. Yeah. So
Very important
Hi,
mission.
High Hankel is I guess the next sort of biggest town. That's the one that you've sort of been brought. It's a more of a city than a village like you're currently in. That's why they sort of suggested going there, because there's more to it.
Yeah. Did they mention like how far away is it? Like,
No, you've not asked.
Okay.
I was going to ask, but it's fine.
Write that down for next time.
Yes.